Hello, my name is Dr. Ila Shukla, and today's presentation would be about the application of cell cultures in pharmaceutical industry and research. It is an important topic under pharmaceutical microbiology. So, coming to the slide of content. So, this slides would be covering about the cell culture, what is a cell culture, why we use cell culture, primary cell culture, cell lines, continuous cell lines, then how can a cell line be derived, then the use of tissue culture in toxicity testing, biological products, in cell therapy, drug screening and drug development, respiratory cell lines, pancreatic beta cell lines and the cell lines in vaccine. These are the applications of the cell culture. Coming to the first slide, it is saying about what is cell culture. So, cell culture is a process in which or by which prokaryotic or the eukaryotic or the plant cells are grown under controlled conditions. We take out the cell from the plant or the animal or any other kind of organism, and we culture it in a condition that is outside the living system, and we provide proper nutrition so that it can grow to the best of its limit. But in practice it refers to as culturing of the cell derived from the animal cells. So, cell culture was first successfully undertaken by Ross Harrison in 1907. Rox in 1885 for the first time maintained embryonic chick cells in a cell culture. Rox was the first scientist to maintain embryonic chick cell culture in a cell culture. So, this next slide says about why is cell culture used for. What is cell culture used for? Areas where cell culture technology is currently playing a major role are model systems for studying basic cell biology. It is very important for us to know what is the complete cell assembly or cell structure, because without it we cannot define, we cannot find out the reasons for the different ailments, we cannot make the drugs or the particular kind of substances that can clear or that can treat that ailment. For that purpose we need to understand the cell structure. For that purpose we need to go for cell culturing. So, studying basic cell biology. What is this basic cell biology? Then interaction between the diseases causing agents. If we do not know about the cell biology, the basic cell biology, or we can say about the skeleton or the system of the cell, we cannot define or we cannot find out the interaction between the disease and the causative agents. Then effect of drugs on the cells. What is the effect of drug on the cell? Like if we know what are the type of proteins that are present in the membrane, or what are the type of substances that are inside the cell, we can understand the effect of drug on the cell. Without it we cannot find out the impact of drug. So, and then comes your process and triggering of the aging and the nutritional studies. Why aging is happening, why senescence is occurring, we cannot define it if we do not know the cell biology. And then comes your nutritional studies. What are the nutritional requirements for us, or what are the basic nutritional requirements for us to find out, or which will be consumed by us, otherwise the person will not survive. Will be these all results, or these all data is derived only after the basic cell biology is known to us. Then your cancer research. Study the function of various chemicals, virus and radiation to convert normal cultured cells to cancerous cells. For cancer research, what we do is that we take out the normal cell from a organism, we put it in a maximum stress condition. It could be like we need to study the effect of radiation in a normal human being. We put the cells in the radiation chamber and we allow the radiation to penetrate the cell. Then we observe for a duration that what happens to it, like if cell goes into the cancerous growth or it die out. Then other thing is that what is the effect of virus. Viral diseases are also studied accordingly. Then what are the effect of chemicals, what chemicals are doing to the cells. All these studies do when we go for the cancer research, we do all these steps into it. So, coming to the next slide. It also says about why these are the reasons why we need to study the cell culture. Toxicity testing. Study the effect of new drugs. While we develop the new drug, it is never like we directly give it to the animals or the human beings. We always test it first on the cell culture. Why? Because animals are also living, there are ethics for that. We should not give pain, or we should not do anything that hampers or hampers the growth or hampers the life of any organism. For that purpose we develop cell culture, so that we can place that substance into the cell culture, and the cells would accordingly act accordingly find out, accordingly react to it, and we can define or we can derive the results out of it, whether it is safe for the use in the animals or the human beings or not. For that purpose also we need cell culture. Then virology, cultivation of virus for vaccine production. Virus are the organism which are living inside the body and they act as non-living outside the body. They can be kept for years, but they do not function any kind of, they do not do any kind of metabolism, but as soon as they reach inside the animal or the living system, they attach the genetic material to the genetic machinery of that particular organism and they start replicating. So, for that purpose, because we need to develop the vaccine against viral diseases, what we do, we place such viruses into the cell culture and this virus or the viral genome attached to this cell, the cells start dividing, the virus particles start dividing, and then we are able to develop the vaccine accordingly. Then gene therapy, the cells having functional gene can be replaced to the cells which are having non-functional gene. If we are able to study the cell culture, we can find out the particular gene that is hampering the particular kind of that is hampering the health of an organism, or if it is involved in particular kind of ailment, if it is replaced, the person will be cured properly, then we can study in case of the cell culture. So, then the next slide says about the primary culture. What is the primary culture? Cells when surgically or enzymatically removed from an organism and placed in a suitable culture environment will attach and grow are called as primary culture. The primary culture is something in which the cells are taken out from the organism. From the primary culture refers to the very first step of culture. Like we take out the cell and we place it in the media, in a proper media where the temperature, air condition, pH, everything is maintained according to the cell, and the cells start growing. That cells start growing, after that the culture obtained at first is the primary culture. So, primary cells have a finite lifespan, they are not immortalized, they have a finite lifespan. The primary culture contain a very heterogeneous population or of cells because they are directly derived from the particular organism. It is not like that the human body or the animal body, there is not a clear demarcation like only the heart cell, like if we draw the heart cell, then there would be heart cell only, there would be blood only, there would be protein also. So, for that reason different kind of substances in the cells may be present. So, that is why the primary cell culture or the culture is refers to as the heterogeneous population of the cells. Then these are treated by proteolytic enzymes just to avoid or just to hydrolyze the proteins that are attached to them. So, the next slide says about the cell lines. A cell line is a product of immortal cells that are used for biological research. So, cell lines refers to the culture that has been immortalized. Immortalized does not refer that the cells would not senescence. Immortalized refer that they will be preserved in such a way that whenever they are used or whenever they are placed in a fresh media with the ambient condition, they will grow back and they will form a complete cell culture. So, cells are used for the cell lines are immortal, that happens if a cell is cancerous. If a cell get cancerous, that means the cell will not senescence, that keep on dividing. Before it reaches the maturity, it again goes into the division. It is like the division phase, like G1, G2, G0 phase are passed and completely the cell comes into the division phase, the M phase, where it keep on dividing again and again without reaching to the maturity. Then the cells can perpetuate division indefinitely, which is unlike regular cells which can only divide approximately 50 times. They divide indefinitely and they unlike regular cells, it is not like they are having a particular lifespan just like the regular cells, they keep on dividing and they divide at such a fast pace, that is around 50 times more than the natural or the normal cell. Then what are the continuous cell lines? The cell lines which either occur spontaneously or induced virally or chemically transformed into the continuous cell lines. If any of these situations happen, the cell line or the cell culture obtained is the continuous cell line. What are the characteristics of continuous cell lines? These are smaller, more rounded, less adherent with a higher nucleus cytoplasm ratio. That means nucleus would be large and cytoplasm would be less. What it refers to? It refers to the condition where the cell is not completely reaching to the maturity. Then your next point is fast growth and have aneuploidy chromosome number. They have a very fast growth, as I just told you, 50 times more than the natural or the normal cell, and they have aneuploidy chromosome number. Then how can a cell line be derived? How we can derive a cell line? First, as the figure says, it could be anything, like it could be a fish, it could be hen, it could be rat, it could be human being. We isolate the organ is kept in a particular media so that the organ do not start disintegrating. Then tissue explant culture. Tissue explant culture refers to, we take out the tissue from this organ, we keep it in a particular media where it do not distort, or where the cells in it do not get senesced. Then retain some tissue for here we retain some kind of some amount of tissue for the further studies. Then from here we develop the cell lines. The cell lines, after that they either these are developed in from this tissue, or directly we just further cut it and suspend into the culture media, where this culture will lead to the formation of the primary culture. And this primary culture, if we keep on growing it in a fresh media, we subculturing it, then it will also lead to the formation of the cell lines. So, these are the in vitro, the type of in vitro systems which can be used for the culture or for the formation of the cell lines. So, what are the use of tissue culture in toxicity testing? Mammalian cell cultures can be suitable alternative for the use of whole animal tests to establish the potential toxicity of the compounds. Like I just told you that for testing the new drug, why I just told you that testing the new drug would be better if we go for this animal cell culture or the cell culture, just because the living being, whichever it could be, like it could be a rodent, it could be a small fish, or even it could be a golden fish if we are going for the experiment. The organism is living. So, ethics says we should not do anything that actually give pain or actually takes away the life of a organism. So, for that purpose the cell culture option is much better. We can test the toxicity, we can see what the cells are synthesizing, we can directly take out the substance from there and test whether it is toxic or not. So, it is always favorable when we go for the cell culture for the toxicity testing of the compounds. They overcome the disadvantage of the whole animal testing. Also, apart from this, apart from the ethics, maintaining the animal cells or maintaining the animals in a particular experiment is much more difficult and costlier than keeping the cell culture, because cell culture is in a small petri plate in a particular ambient condition in the incubator, occupies less space and less economy. If we talk about the animals, we need to feed them, we need to give water to them, we need to give space to them. Also, we need to maintain the temperature so that they do not feel, if it is cold they should not shiver or something like that. If it is hot outside there, we need to air condition so that they survive. So, for that if we see it into that way, the economy would be much higher. So, it is better economically to use cell culture. Also, the cell culture studies have less variability, since living organisms keep on adjusting or adapting to the different environments. Like if a person is having a particular kind of ailment, like if the person is having hyperacidity or something, the body will start adapting to it slowly. Like if we take the antacids, the body start to adapt, and adaptation is to a level that a time comes when a person consumes this antacid, the acid rebound occurs, the acid formation increases. So, such kind of variations happen in the animal, or I can say that the living system. So, to avoid it, it is better to use cell culture so that such variations are minimized. Then what are the further uses in toxicity testing? Cell culture tests are rapid, allow more efficient screening of novel compounds, and sometimes can allow in identification of the metabolic target of inhibition. Since cell line or the cell culture tests are rapid, because cell culture duration is very less, either 12 to 24 hours the culture develops. So, it is quite quick. It allows more efficient screening of novel compounds, because cells, we are giving it directly to the cells, they are consuming it, and whatever the metabolic product is formed immediately or in a very short duration comes into the media. So, it is easier for us to find out the efficiency for it, and sometimes it can also allow the identification of the metabolic target of inhibition. Often what happens, we give a substance to an animal cell, or this in the cell culture, the cell start to synthesize some kind of protein or some kind of other substance which can be used to detect whether the metabolism is affected, whether if the substance is suppressed, or whether the formation of the substance is suppressed, can the ailment be cured. Such kind of things can be done at a very fast pace if we are using cell cultures. So, growth rate इज रिड्यूस्ड, जल्दी जल्दी से वो ग्रो कर जाते हैं सेल्स. ब्रेकडाउन ऑफ मेम्ब्रेन परमेबिलिटी, मेम्ब्रेन परमेबिलिटी को ब्रेक डाउन करना ईजी होता है हमारे लिए. मान लीजिए कोई सब्सटेंस है, इफ वी वांट इट टू परमेट इनटू द सेल, देन इट इज इजियर फॉर अस टू डू द प्रोसीजर इन द सेल कल्चर, एंड इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस टू डू इट इन एनिमल और द लिविंग system. Then the ability of metabolizing the toxic compound is very fast. We can directly observe it whether the substance is metabolizing that toxic compound or not. And then the genetic effects, like genetic effects are easier to observe. Why? Because the cell shape would get varied, the formation of the proteins and the substances would get varied, if or any other kind of development may happen in case of any kind of genetic effect. So such kind of toxicity testing gets very easier if we use the cell culture, because it is like we can directly observe it into the microscope and we keep on doing the experiment and we get the result in a very short duration. So now the next slide says about the use of tissue culture for biological products. So first in it is the production of vaccines. As I just told you in the previous slide, vaccine production, like if we are talking about the virus, virus is a living organism. While we see it in the living system, if you observe it in the human being, it is living. If you observe it outside the living system, then the virus is a dead organism, we can say, because it do not perform any metabolism, it do not perform any kind of metabolic activity. But as soon as it reaches inside the host, it attaches its genetic material to the genetic makeup or the genetic machinery of that host, and then the cells, as soon as the cells of the host divide, the virus particle, the virus genetic material keeps on dividing, and this is the way how viral disease spreads inside the human body or the animal body, or it could be in the living system. So production of vaccines, animal cell technology is considerably developed for the production of a range of human and the veterinary viral vaccines against a variety of diseases. As I just told you, we culture the cells, we place the viral particles into it, virus particles into it, virus attaches its genetic material to the cell that are infected with the virus start synthesizing substances which are actually toxic to the human beings. We take out those substances, we study them, and we find out how those substances can be developed as vaccine. So there are 5 main types of vaccines. Attenuated refers to the virus particle or the organism is alive but do not have ability to infect us. So it is live but it will not be able to infect us. Then inactivated vaccine, the virus particle is completely, or the organism is completely inactivated. It could be live but it is inactivated. Toxoid vaccines, these are the substances that are synthesized by the virus particles or the organisms. Then subunit vaccines, some kind of protein subunits or other subunits has been taken out and those are used as vaccines. Then conjugate vaccines, then the vaccines that are particularly synthesized by these the substances that are particularly synthesized by the organism, and they are in the form of either protein or some kind of conjugated substances. These are also used as vaccines. But the production of vaccine is very fast when we take up the cell culture. Then comes your production of the antibodies. Also the in vitro methods for the production of the monoclonal MABs are, this is monoclonal antibodies, MABs. So MABs are the methods of choice. Why? The ease of culture for the production and the less economic consideration compared with the use of the animals. 2 main reasons why monoclonal antibodies are favorable method for us to use is, first is it is easy for the product, it is very easy for us to produce MABs in the culture, and less economic consideration as compared with the use of animals. As I just told you, economically keeping animals and using them for the production of antibodies or the vaccines is very difficult, because for that purpose we have to maintain the food properly, we have to maintain the water supply, we have to provide the correct ambient condition for them to survive. So those conditions for the cell culture are very less and those conditions for the animals are very high. So economically if we talk about, then the cell cultures are highly economic. Coming to the next slide, it says about the biological products, and in this the MABs, practical uses of the in vitro produced by the MABs. Diagnostic tests for the identification of the small quantities of the specific antigens. MABs are specifically used for identification of the small quantities of the specific antigens, like we draw the sample, the amount of antigen in that sample is very less, then the MABs would be favorable for us, we can identify using them. MABs also are used therapeutically, like OKT3 recognizes the surface antigen CD3 or the T cell and is one of the most effective agent in preventing immunological rejection of the transplanted kidneys. Like when you must have heard about the transplants, or it could be of liver, it could be of kidney or some other organ, but these transplants are never easy. What happen whenever the external tissue or whenever the external substance or any other organ is introduced into the body takes up it as an foreign substance or a foreign something that is not used to, that is not recognized by the body, or the body is not used to it. Body start to produce antibodies. Our body, human body or it could be animal body, start to produce antibodies against that particular organ or the tissue. And what happens if that immune system is not suppressed? What happens? The body itself will destroy its own organ that has been newly transplanted. For that purpose, we use such kind of proteins so that the antibody formation is either lessened or it is easier for body to recognize that particular organ. Coming to the next slide. So, various MABs designed to destruct tumor cells by targeting a membrane bound protein antigen specifically expressed by these cells. So, another example of MABs is the use in the destruction of the tumor cell. What happens? Like one of the very good example for your MABs is the rituximab. Rituximab is a monoclonal antibody, and that is one of the ailment that it treats is NHL, that is non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. What happens is that whenever it is given to the patient, it goes into the blood. It get attached to the cells that are not normal, that are cancerous, or it get attached to the tumor cells. And what happens? The other substances given along with such kind of treatment in the cancer patients, the other substance go and recognize this rituximab and then they kill that particular cancer cell. Like one of the therapy for such kinds of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma treatment is R-CHOP. In this CHOP, the CHOP includes the short form for the other medications that are being used in the cancer, and R means rituximab. Rituxi is the name for that particular antibody, and mab refers to monoclonal antibody. So, another is the conjugation of the radioactive or the toxic compounds to the antibody can result in localized high concentration resulting in cytotoxicity to the target cell. What happens in, again this is the example for the cancer treatment, conjugation of the radioactive or the toxic compounds to the antibody. This antibody get attached to the radioactive or the toxic compounds, and the result is localized high concentration which creates toxicity and which kills the cancerous cells. Coming to the next slide. Now comes the recombinant proteins. We were talking about the antibodies, those were the monoclonal antibodies. Now comes the recombinant proteins. The protein extracted from the biological sources have been important for substitution therapy. Why we need to prepare recombinant protein, or why we need to extract out the protein? What happens when we are dealing with the patients which are having different kind of deficiencies, or whose metabolic system is not performing well? Because of that reason the protein and the other substances are not being prepared properly in the body, are not being formed in the body properly. What happens? These extracted proteins or these biological sources that are available are used for supplementing such patients, and such patients survive on such kind of substitution therapy. So, recombinant proteins used in the clinic include recombinant hormones, interferons, interleukins. All these substances are often used if we are clearing out some kind of ailment, or it could be like if we are making out the making up the requirement for a particular person. It could be because of protein, it could be because of some kind of other substance that are not being synthesized in the body of a particular patient. It could be good use in that case, like recombinant hormones, interferons, interleukins, growth factors. Growth factors are often used in case of the children which have some kind of problem in growth, and also in other cases if the proper metabolism is not being carried out by the body. Then it could be thrombolytic drugs, it could be enzymes for treating major disease like diabetes, dwarfism, and many more such kind of disease are like cerebral apoplexy, multiple sclerosis, and cancer therapies, as I just told you. Then comes some examples of biological products are the TPA. These are produced in large scale by the Genentech from the transfected CHOK1 cells and used to prevent undesirable formation of the fibrin clots in the bloodstream. It is also a kind of genetic disease which is being treated with such kind of TPA substances. Then comes your blood clotting factors. Also In the patients like hemophilia, where the blood do not clot, it is a genetic ailment, we need blood clotting factors to be injected again and again. So, for that purpose, like factor 8 is produced in large scale for Bayer through the transfection of the mammalian kidney cell, and it is used accordingly. Then comes your cell therapy. Literally, cell therapy means treatment with the cells, that is replacing disease or the dysfunctional cells with the healthy functioning cells. What happens in cell therapy, there are some ailments in which the body start producing cells which are not actually properly mature, and they are not able to synthesize the substance that are required to be synthesized by them. So, for that purpose we go for cell therapy, we do the cell culture, we do such kind of cell, we produce such kind of cells which need to be given to the patient in such cases, and then we the procedure is termed as cell therapy. For example, when hematopoietic cells are vulnerable to destruction by any cytotoxic drugs used in chemotherapy to eradicate residual tumor cells. Like what happened if a patient is given chemotherapeutic drugs, the blood count goes down. For that purpose, the cell culture or the cell substances available from the cell culture will be injected so that the body is able to replenish its blood content again. So, comes your drug screening and drug development. Cell based assay has become increasingly important for pharmaceutical industry, not just for the cytotoxicity testing, but also for the high throughput screening for the compounds that may have potential uses of the drugs. When we talk about drug screening or drug development, that means we have synthesized a substance or a medicine, we need to screen it. Why? Because we need to study the toxicity about it, we need to study the impact of it in our different body parts, and how it will be treating the ailment. So, it all comes under your screening, and development refers to like what further changes has to be done in that particular substance. So, for that purpose, to study all these things, the cell culture would be a favorable media, because animals में result आने में काफ़ी लंबा समय लगता है, and cell cultures are easily available and rapid results are obtained. So, respiratory cell lines are also there to study the respiratory ailment. Pancreatic beta cell lines for studying the pancreatic ailment, like it could be insulin secreting cell lines or something where the insulin is not being produced in the body, then these cell lines can be used. Then cell lines in the vaccine, as I just told you priorly, there are several cell lines that are being used for producing vaccines. This could be Vivalis, from then this is a France based biotechnology company. Many more such kind of cells are there, like EB60C cells are there. So, these are the cell cultures which are being used for producing the vaccines. So, this was all for the today's lecture. Here we covered about the application of the cell culture in different fields, like it could be producing cell lines for the respiratory system, producing cell lines for producing vaccines, producing cell lines for treating cancer ailment or something like that. So, this was all for today. Thank you.